Hello guys, I'm going to show you how to tactically build bases for router bases, Orbital Strike bases, and Flail Bases. Those are main three bases you're going to probably build. There is like objective ones like Operation Snow Fort, or trying to like defend a base area like Burgess down here. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you where to go ahead and build these bases and what you should be doing when you get these bases. And I'm just gonna go draw out some things on just photos. So if you're gonna go ahead and build a router base, we're gonna start with router bases. So we're gonna go mark it up with. Is there different colors? Yeah, okay. We're just gonna mark it up in red. So we're gonna say around here is where the border is. I think it's a little bit bigger, so like right here. This area is where the red zone is for the bases. So you can build like right here. I think back here is a really good spot. Right here and up high, like right here. Down here is really good. There's a lot of good spaces for router bases. You're just trying to avoid the population. So I'm gonna mark on blue, or let's do purple. Yeah, I think purple. We're gonna make this a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna say right here. I'm gonna go down and over here. So this is the area where the territory is split. And you're trying to go ahead and void, so it's quite a distance to get to these areas, So that's what you want. Control Z. Ugh. No. I wanna. Okay. So yeah, that's where to go ahead and build router bases to the requirements. Just light air, router, spawner thing, silo, and the spawn tube, and that's about it. That's all you need to do. It's the fastest way to get XP and worth your buck on building a base. Just try to avoid people and making sure it's not too difficult to get there, and making sure the coordinate is around. I would say that the best area to go build a base is this area right here, or over here. Maybe over here as well. I know there's some coordinate that spawns right over here, but right here is not a good spot because it takes a long time to get there. So I just recommend you not to go ahead and build there. So yeah, that's one of the best places to build a router and router base. There's other spots over here and over here to go build a base, but it's very situational on which continent you got. But I'm gonna go in depth of where good base building spots for router bases specifically, and then one for each continent, not just for Indar. But I'm just trying to go tell you an advanced way to go ahead and build these bases. Now we're gonna talk about flail bases. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you and mark some of the stuff. So we're saying this is a if you're gonna go make a flail base, you want to go and be near people, but also in the opposite faction and fight their base or people. So like we'll say that people is right here. So the best base spot to place it, if you have Crimson Bluff, is to go build right here. Because then the flail can go ahead and attack this area. There's tanks or a base there. It's hard to get to you. And it's probably going to be like an Orbital Strike base or something like that. So you might get Orbital Strikes, but like I said, a Skywall, if you have a Skywall up, most of your spots are going to be okay. You could also make an Orbital Strike base there as well. You just want to make sure nobody can get to your base, but also be effective on destroying people and making sure they're going to stay away from you. So just put everything as much as you can that are essential, like all the defensive stuff, walls, and all that. It's not necessary to use every structure or module, but you want to get that stuff down and up and ready. Since this is a higher elevation, tanks can't really go ahead and they could try to snipe you, but they're not going to do much if some guy has dedication to destroying your base. It's just not a fun old deal to go ahead and deal with them. You're gonna have to deal with them. You can go get like a Mozzie and try to shoot them down, or fly over them and drop out and C4 the tank. But you gotta do what you can to defend your base and make it worthwhile. So I would say that's a good thing to do. We're gonna go ahead and erase this now. Flail Bases, you need to know where the tanks and people are at, though. Like, where the flow of the battle is at. Because there's going to be a battle no matter what. If they're trying to get into this base right here, what is it? I don't remember what that 3-point base is called, but at the top of my head, but they got pushed back really far, so they're like right here, and it's out of their zone. You can go ahead and flail their Sunday, and boom, they're destroyed. Or you can probably be able to farm them and not destroy their Sunday. If you want to do that, or just destroy the Sunday, you could. There's plenty of ways to do flailing, or orbital striking. But those are some of the ways. You just need to know where the flow of the battle is at and making sure that they can't get to you. So you can't do anything against bastions, because they're going to come over. If there's a bastion over, you can't defend them. They're going to defend your base with that. And I feel like that's where bases are underpowered in right now. But you could try to do something to a Colossus, or newer vehicles that came out. You could try to go ahead and flail a Colossus. I have not personally flailed a Colossus before. I really want to see how that looks like. But you can do that. You just need to making sure you got the range for the flail or orbital strike into doing it. So know your target and making sure that you can get to them. I'm going to repeat that because that is the main idea for it. So we're going to go and talk about more in depth about orbital strikes, though. So orbital strikes, on the other hand, they're going to go see where your base is at. So you can't hide your base. So a flail base, you could hide your base. You could hit it in this little area. There's a little area down here. You can hit it right here, and you can just probably flail anything around here, But if you try to build a base over here and have a orbital strike, they're going to go see your base, and more vehicles can try to get to you. That's the main difference between an orbital strike base and a flail base. Now, an orbital strike base, you have an 830 meter radius, so you can go pretty far, but I think you have a 600 meter radius for flails and glaives. So you're not going to get a far radius, so orbital strikes have the advantage of having a bigger radius. It's I would say orbital strikes are more of a gamble to use. Expect more tanks to come to you and try to destroy your base. For orbital strikes, though, you will be able to get big facilities, like solar plant, or that base. Forgot what they're called. Don't blame me, okay? But what you want to know if what the flow battle is like previously, but they're not outside. You might use the orbital strike for a different reason, for like routers. You want to destroy the router, and making sure they can't spawn. So we're gonna go ahead and orbital strike it to destroy it. Just know what your objective is. But if you want to achieve the maximum kill objective, know what type of battle is going to occur. So if you want to go ahead and get a lot of kills, I would recommend you is to know what their spawn point is like, where they're coming from. If TR is holding the A point and they're coming from the outside, you have the potential to orbital strike. So, and if you do orbital strike and the TR are not pushing as much, and just trying to hold the point, then you can go ahead and Orbital Strike their Sunday. So what I will recommend you is be engineer or someone like maybe you could is be a light assault or heavy to go ahead and C4 their Sunday, but I would recommend you engineer because Sundays do have that extra shield thing when they're deployed. So you might want to place down like 3 or 4 tank mines and partially damage it. And when you're falling, I'm gonna put this in order. So when you're falling, making sure you shoot the orbital strike dart thing first, and then call it when you land. So it'll be called when you land. So then there's a lot of hysteria, and they're trying to get into the Sunday so they don't get orbital strikes. They might shoot at you, but you want to land over at the Sunday. So you want to go ahead and put a lot of tank mines down. You know, put 4 or maybe even 5. I think it's 5. I would just be safe and do 4, and making sure that their shield is down. So then the orbital strike will get the last hit and explode the Sunday. So you can get the points for that directive if you're trying to go for the directive. I personally want to go for the directive. There has been that one occasion where when the arc, I'm gonna go erase this. When the arc was there previously in Indar, there was a Sunday down over here on the arc, and I did what I said, and I got like 30 kills from it. And that's the most kills I got from an orbital strike, and it was a 96 plus battle to TI alloys. They were all coming from Crown, and I felt like, oh, this is my best chance to orbital strike their Sunday and kill as much people. The Sunday was filled to the brim, and yeah, I had it was the best orbital strike I've ever had in my life. It was all fun. And I was very happy. I was like number 1 on TI because I got 30 kills and I got a 30 kill streak. Like, that is the most I've ever gotten. And I base build a lot. And I'm going to let you know that most of my bases have like a 50-50 ratio of it being successful and or destroyed. So, because I do like to do orbital strikes. I probably am the number 1 guy to get the most orbital strike kills. But anyways, I would say one more thing about orbital strikes is to know where your radius is at. It has 130 meters, like I said, but you want to know what bases it's touching. You might not be able to go ahead and reach certain bases. So, let's say I build a base right here. It will touch Crossroads, and it will touch, Crown, and it might touch TI, but it will probably not touch Ceres. Ceres will not be able to, get touched because it's too far away. It's not 130 meters. So if there's a battle going on, I mean, sorry, you gotta know where your orbital strike uplink is at. And you want to go ahead and making sure these things. So that's the last thing about orbital strikes. I'm going to talk about the last one I'm going to talk about is like objective based. Like, what are you trying to build for? Are you trying to defend Burgess, or are you trying to go for those directives or missions? Trying to go do those things, and it might be easy or hard. I would probably recommend you to have, like, if you're trying to go for, like, defend Burgess, to put everything down, maybe except the uplink, or Flail, or Glaive, one of those, to get rid of those 3, because that's not your objective. Your objective is to defend Burgess. And I would also best recommend you, if you want to have an orbital strike, or not necessarily for Flail or router bases, but if you want to have an orbital strike base, and if you're on a platoon and your base is being attacked right now, like, that happens, and you're in a platoon, you can call to your platoon, oh hey, my base is being attacked, and I know that your alarm thing will be told to the whole platoon if you have the alarm module, so the platoon could help you and defend your base. That's also a way to defend your base, and I think that's the best way to defend your base as well. But if you want to try to defend Burgess and you're doing your own thing, and there's a whole bunch of vehicles, you can call them and they'll help defend, and making sure you have everything down, all the defenses and everything, and making sure you know where your access points are at. If the NC, if NC is over here and you're at Terran Republic, you want to just go ahead and wall up these two area entry points, but also have a structured vehicle gate right there. So it'll be hard for them to get to your base, but easy for you to go ahead and access the base. So for overall base designs, though, you want to making sure you're near Cordium, and your base isn't hard to get to. Unless if you want to make it hard to get to, you might have to scrap your ant or your wasp. Wasp is really useful for high elevation areas or hard places to get into. I use the wasp for a basin over at Hassan. I'm gonna go pull up Hassan. Hassan is where is it? I'm gonna go pull up Hassan. Let's see. I'm gonna go move it over. So if you remember previously, I had a base around here. Yeah, around this area, and I made like a lot of orbital strikes. Let's see. I'm gonna go. Am I able to pull it up? Yeah. So I made a lot of orbital strikes, and it was in this area, and it's hard to get to. But I couldn't get into it personally because it had a lot of hills, and I had my base submerged in with the surrounding environment. So there was two hills, and I built my base right here because there was this and there was that. So I had the sky wall and I had a vehicle gate so my ant can get in, but I had to go ahead and scrap my ant at the end because it was essentially too hard for me to get out. So that is what you're gonna have to happen. So, oh, I can't speak English, but that might happen. That's why a wasp is kind of useful because you might have a light air thing in there. And it will not be too hard to land in there, and you have a flat surface, and you can just deposit cordium in there. So wasp is really useful. So I prefer ant though because of the turbojets, but wasp is now going to be the more useful thing in these kind of environments, and I'm probably going to be using wasp a lot more. And last and not least, I'm making sure if it's in a high elevation to have turbojet for your ant, because you will never be able to get up there with just the racer chassis. That's just not going to happen. So for a recap, for router bases, you want to have your base like close to your thing. So around this line, and have your router base be near the warp gate. The warp gate is away from population, and most of the time they're not going to go ahead and get to you. And since the population is going to go here, building a router base like right here or right over here, not far away from like population, away, and making sure people don't get into your base. The best way to keep people from in is being under something, and and be away, and making sure you have that alarm module. Flail and Orbital Strike bases, you want to get close to the population line, as I call it. So, but I wouldn't recommend you to go build bases near tech plants or amp stations or something like that. It's not really good. So go for like those one pointer bases like the construction beta or whatnot. And you can build a base like, let's see, where's a good spot? Oh, let's just use my previous base. I was attacking construction beta, and it's almost a little bit over 830 meters. Yeah, 830 meters. So my base was submerged. It was hard to get to, and I was easily being able to go ahead and bomb construction beta a lot because they couldn't get to my base. Especially harassers. Harassers couldn't get into my base that easily. They had to go around here, out back, and then be able to go through here. And that's how hard I got into. You couldn't directly go through and go over that hill, even with their turbo chassis. So making sure you're not easily able to get into, but also be able to bomb high population areas and know where everybody's at. So getting around 11 kills is probably most likely average for you to go see, and that's pretty good for an orbital strike. Making sure everybody is outside and not inside, and know where their Sunday and their spawn point is at. If you're doing a flail, making sure it's not in that facility zone, and just making sure they're all outside. That's basically the gist of it, and know your target as well. Like if you're trying to go flail and glaive a base, go ahead and mark your target and see how far it is. If it's over 600 meters, you cannot flail or glaive that base, but maybe be able to orbital strike it. But they have a skywall that's not going to do any good. So you might be able to get their walls, but that's about it. So you're going to have that glaive or flail to destroy that base. Last and not least, making sure those people can't get to you. Being in higher or lower elevations is probably the way to go, depending on if air can get to your base. You probably need to get that air terminal up. So yeah, that's about it. Making sure. Also, making sure you have enough room for your base as well. Your base might have to be kind of small and reserved, and that might be or maybe not flat. So you need to making sure these kind of things and know the best spots are. I'm gonna go and make another video about what are the areas to build in these certain areas, and I'm gonna go in more in depth about these areas and which good locations. And it'll be a much longer video for me to go ahead and edit. But hope you like my video, and please leave a like if you did like the video, and subscribe. Subscribing, it would be really helpful. I currently only have 15 subscribers, and I would love to show my video to a lot more newer people and trying to know tactically base build. I know there's not a lot of videos out there that talk about this, so please like and subscribe if you want to see more about base building. I will be talking about more specific areas and more specific things about orbital strikes and flails, base destruction, and routers and router placement. I think those really need to be talked about for specific bases and facilities and what you're trying to do. So if you want to see more, just like and subscribe. It's not that hard. Anyways, bye.